Bengals beat the Dolphins last night in a crazy game. I've got a few choice words for the Miami Dolphins medical staff. The Browns face the Falcons in a very important game. I got the latest injury update on the condition of Myles Garrett. The Giants face the Bears in a battle of New York and Chicago. The Patriots face the Packers in a Sunday afternoon game at a 4:30 kickoff out at Lambeau. And it's going to be the battle of Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. The young gun versus the old guard. And we have some huge ranked versus ranked matchups in college football. And the NASCAR Cup Series is at Talladega this weekend. We will start the show, and I'll have a lot today. And we will start the show right after this. Let's go ahead and get the show on the road. We have a lot to talk about here. We're going to go right into it. Last night, I watched the Dolphins and the Bengals game. The Bengals won that game 27-15. Joe Burrow, 20-31, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Bengals' offensive line stepped up last night. Burrow only got sacked once, and that was it. Joe Mixon, 24 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 7 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown of his own. For the Miami Dolphins, Teddy Bridgewater had to step up to the plate last night. 14-23, 193 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Now, you're wondering what happened to Tua Tagovailoa. He was 8-14 for 110 yards and an interception. But just real quickly, Tyreek Hill, 10 catches, 160 yards last night. But what happened with Tua Tagovailoa last night? Tagovailoa got sacked by Cincinnati's Josh Tupou. If I mispronounce his name, I apologize. He got sacked by Cincinnati Bengals nose guard Josh Tupou last night. What happened was Tagovailoa had to be carted off the field. He suffered a concussion. He lost feeling in all of his extremities for about a few minutes. He laid on the field for almost 7 to 10 minutes last night. A frightening scene late in the game. It was in the second quarter, actually. My apologies there. He was on the field for about 10 minutes before he was carted off a stretcher and taken away to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center's trauma unit. The good news is Tagovailoa has all usage of his extremities. That is very excellent news. He's expected to be released and travel back to Miami with the team today. Ryan Shazier, former Pittsburgh Steelers star Ryan Shazier from Ohio State, actually chimed in and said he's wishing Tua a very speedy recovery and all the best. I want to ask you guys something. Do you remember what happened to Ryan Shazier on Monday Night Football some years ago when the Bengals played the Steelers and Shazier suffered his injury? He had to go to the University of Cincinnati's Medical Center Air trauma unit. He had, and even Shazier himself had nothing but nice. He had nothing but nice to say about the UC, about the University of Cincinnati, and the doctors and the nurses and the job they did with him. Now Shazier's career is over. There's no doubt. But just to see him walk again is a blessing. Now, but I want to talk about Tua for just a second. Let's go back 1 week when the Dolphins faced the Bills in a Sunday afternoon game. Tua got hurt. According to the Miami Dolphins, he passed concussion protocol at halftime in that game, and he was able to play again. He finished the game, but going into the game on Thursday, he was a little doozy. Because I got a decent look at him. I'm like, you got to be kidding! He's going to be playing tonight. I would not have started him at all. I would have said, hey, let's hold off. I'm sure you're okay. What happened to Tua last night? I do not blame Josh Tupou over the nose tackle of the Bengals at all. What happened to Tua last night? This is on the Miami Dolphins medical staff. I'm sorry. I'm not going to dance around that. So if you guys are thinking I'm letting the Bengals off the hook, now he did sack him. Josh Tupou did sack him. Yes. But what happened with Tua when he got injured? That's totally on the Miami Dolphins medical staff. They did not do their jobs. Last Sunday, after what happened, if I was on that medical staff and I was a head person on that medical staff, I would have said, no. Let's take him out for the rest of the game. Let's play it safe. Let's play it smart. That did not happen against the Bills last Sunday. And look what happened last night. So to the Miami Dolphins medical staff, you need to be held accountable, and you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. I'm sorry. Now, I know I didn't have a horse in the fight, but I'm not dancing around this morning. And that's all there is to it. And that's the bottom line. Great win for the Bengals. I wish nothing but the best for Tua Tagovailoa here on this day. And that's all I have to say about that right now. All right. Now, that was last night. The Bengals got a win. But we got the Cleveland Browns playing the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday afternoon. And we got a great one. Cleveland running back Nick Chubb has already said, I'm really looking forward to Atlanta, going down to Atlanta because we can beat the Falcons in their stadium. We're 6-1 against them, and we can hopefully get the job done. Atlanta quarterback Marcus Mariota has already said, the Browns want to come to our house, we're going to get our revenge, and we're ready for them. Now, keep in mind, Nick Chubb's their leading on. Now, Nick Chubb is the Browns' offensive leader. 341 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns early in the season. But Marcus Mariota, he's averaging 213 yards passing per game, and he's second when rushing with 92 yards, only behind Cordell Patterson. What an offensive matchup this is going to be. You got Nick Chubb versus Marcus Mariota. We'll see who the better man is, and the key matchup is Atlanta's offensive linebackers, Rasheed Evans and Malik Walker, versus Nick Chubb. I mean, Rasheed Evans, 25 total tackles this season, 13 solo, 12 assists, 1 fumble recovery. Malik Walker, 22 total tackles, 17 solo, 5 assisted, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. But as far as Nick Chubb goes, go back to that Thursday night game against the Steelers. 86 of his 113 yards against the Steelers came after contact. That's how strong Nick Chubb is. That's to give you an idea. Nick Chubb from Georgia. Excuse me for sounding like Chris Berman, but somebody's got to keep up after the Burman. But anyway. This is going to be an interesting game. And here's something else to keep in mind. And here's the $64,000 question. Will the Browns have Myles Garrett available? Keep in mind, Myles Garrett was involved in a one-car accident out in Medina County, in Ohio, this past week. He suffered a sprained shoulder, and he's got some soreness in his muscles, but he's expected to make a full recovery. But details of the accident that Myles Garrett was in is starting to come out. He was doing 65 in a 45 zone along State Road in Medina County. And State Road in Medina County is a backcountry road that everybody likes to drive like the Duke boys. Myles Garrett, I'm going to tell you something. If you don't play on Sunday, you need to haul your butt to church on Sunday and thank the good Lord you got out of that one. You gave the Browns organization a scare. You gave Browns Nation a scare. You gave all the Browns fans a scare when you're driving 65 in a 45 zone. Now, I'm a Browns fan, yes, but I can't defend this. And I'm calling out Myles Garrett for this. Your car was totaled. Your 911 Porsche that you were driving was totaled. You could have been seriously injured in that. You could have been killed doing what you were doing, man. So, Browns Nation, now, I'm a Browns fan, yes, but Myles, we need you, dude. That's all there is to it. If you don't play Sunday, we're in a world of hurt. And I'm not trying to sound pessimistic or anything, but Myles Garrett is our best defensive guy we got in the Browns organization. And that's the truth. But as far as the game itself goes, Cleveland, Atlanta, some people are saying the Browns 27-24 on the road. We'll have to wait and see. Excuse me. Now, let's head towards New York. Because I'm kind of in a New York state of mind. Because the Chicago Bears play the New York Giants on Sunday afternoon. Somebody at the end of this game is going to be 3-1 on the season. And two very pleasant surprises. Chicago Bears coach Matt Eberflus has already said he's got his team ready. And New York Giants coach and rookie coach Brian Daboll has already said he's got his guys ready. But Justin Fields, he's really improved since last year in his rookie season. Justin Fields from Ohio State, 297 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, unfortunately 4 interceptions. That's the only downside, but he's really much improved. There's always room for more improvement. But the New York Giants have Daniel Jones from Duke, 560 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. But the New York Giants are going to be without one of their major weapons on Sunday. Sterling Shepard is out for the season. Unfortunately, he got injured last week. So he's out for the season. He was one of the best offensive guys. 13 catches, 154 yards, a touchdown. He was averaging 11.8 yards after the catch. So unfortunately, he's gone for the season. But I'm going to tell you now, the Bears and the Giants, this is going to be a great game on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. I'll have a hard time watching the Browns and the Falcons. I may try to sneak in a little view of the Bears and the Giants myself too. Excuse me. My voice. I got a little bit of a cold still. Bears, Giants. Let's have a great game Sunday afternoon, and let's get it on. Now, we got a 4:25 game on Sunday afternoon that's going to be well worth talking about. The Packers will face the Patriots on Sunday. This is going to be a great game for a lot of reasons. New England's cornerback Jonathan Jones. He's one of the best defensive players that the Patriots have. 10 total tackles, 5 solo, 2 assisted, 2 forced fumbles, 1 interception. Look out. And they've also got defensive end Dietrich Wise Jr., 13 total tackles, 10 solo, 3 assisted, 4 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. Yow. New England's got 2 strong defensive guys, but the Packers do have a couple of strong defensive guys of their own. Green Bay's linebacker Devondre Campbell, 29 total tackles, 15 solo, 14 assisted, 2 tackles for loss. And, of course, they got linebacker Rashawn Gary, a very dangerous individual. 12 total tackles, 7 solo, 5 assisted, 3 sacks on this young season, 4 tackles for loss. Which defense will flinch first? We'll have to wait and see. But the key matchup to this game is New England's defensive backs Damian Harris and Rondé Stevenson versus the Packers. Let me back up. New England's running backs Damian Harris and Rondé Stevenson versus the Packers' run defense. Last Sunday, Harris and Stevenson had 305 yards total combined. The Packers' run defense last Sunday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette, only 35 yards on 12 carries. And that is it. New England head coach Bill Belichick has already said, I'm ready for this challenge on Sunday. And Packers coach Matt LaFleur has already said, the Patriots are coming to our house. They got to come to Lambeau, and we're going to have a green out on Sunday afternoon. And let's get ready for it. All right. Let's move on. The Sunday night game. Mahomes versus Brady. The last time these two teams faced each other was the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. Mahomes versus Brady. Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs so far. 857 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tom Brady, 673 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception on this young season for him. There's your little tail of the tape right there. But the story could be Tampa Bay's defense. They've given up a league low 9 points per game, and remember back on the opening game on Sunday night, the Patriots defense only allowed Dallas to have a field goal. That was it in their 19-3 victory in the opening night game on a Sunday night. 2 weeks ago against the Packers, the Buccaneers defense had a little trouble giving up 14. Now the Packers defense, now the Buccaneers defense is very dominant. But the Kansas City Chiefs have got to work on their run game, on a run to daylight. Last Sunday against the Colts, the Kansas City Chiefs only had 58 yards total in the rush attack on 23 carries against Indianapolis for the game. That was it. 58 yards on 23 carries as a team. The Chiefs are going to have to run. And they're going to have to rely on Patrick Mahomes if they're going to beat Tom Brady and the Bucs. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. This is your Sunday night main event. This is the main event on Sunday night. Will it live up to the hype? Mahomes versus Brady. The young gun versus the old guard. That's what we're looking at. But the Buccaneers defense could play a huge factor. And we'll have to wait and see what happens on a Sunday night. Buckle your seatbelts, fans. 8:20 on NBC could mean a whole lot this time. And everybody knows what's at stake in this game. All right. Let me take a swig of some here. Give me some here. All right. Let's move on. I've had enough NFL talk for one day. Let's move on to college football. My bread and butter. And what a way to start out the weekend on Saturday. Number 7, Kentucky. Number 14, Ole Miss. Can you believe I'm saying this? Number 7, Kentucky. Kentucky, they're supposed to be a basketball school. Well, apparently the Kentucky football players didn't get that memo. And number 14, Ole Miss. What's at stake in this game for both teams? Well, for one, they're hoping to play spoiler for Georgia and possibly Alabama later this season. Could you imagine one of these teams knocking off Georgia or Alabama? How much of a celebration that would be? Let's think about it. Kentucky or Ole Miss knocking off Georgia or Alabama? It'd be stop the presses. Both teams are hoping to play spoiler this season. But what is the key matchup for this game? It's Kentucky's defense versus Ole Miss's run game. Ole Miss is 4th nationally in rushing for an average of 280.8 yards per game. They're 4th nationally. But Kentucky's defense, they rank 5th in defense and rank 33rd nationally, only giving up 108 yards on the ground. If this turns into a ground battle, it's going to be the irresistible force versus the immovable object. That's the best way to put it. But I'll tell you what, something's going to have to give. Kentucky prides themselves on their defense. And I'll say this now. This game out at Ole Miss is going to be well worth the price of admission. But if you're looking for players to watch, Kentucky wide receiver Tavion Robinson, 20 catches, 349 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's been averaging 17.5 yards after catch. What a matchup that's going to be. Ole Miss's running back, Quishon Judkins. He has 70 rushes on the season, 429 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he's been averaging 6.1 yards per rush this season. This is going to be a fun game in the SEC outside of Athens and Tuscaloosa. We're going to be in for a great game. Number 7, Kentucky. Number 14, Ole Miss. This is going to be fun to watch. And you better believe I'm going to be watching this game with special interest. Because I'm telling you, this could come down to the end. We're in for a great game on Saturday afternoon. This is a high noon kickoff on ESPN down at Ole Miss. Kentucky, Ole Miss, enjoy the game, and we're going to have a fun. We're going to have a blast. Now, something else we need to talk about. Number 9, Oklahoma State versus number 16, Baylor. This is a rematch of last year's Big 12 championship game when Oklahoma State just came up short of winning the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy's already said, I have forgotten about what happened with Baylor. I'm not going to say, come after me, I'm a man, I'm 40. It's going to be more like, come after me, I'm a man, I'm 55 to 60 now. Well, it is the truth. Baylor head coach Dave Aranda has already said, we beat them twice last year, we'll beat them 3 times in a row. But keep in mind, things were different last year. Jerry Bohannon was quarterback at Baylor. Now, Bohannon's moved on. But if you think about the matchups for Oklahoma State, what a fun matchup this is going to be. Oklahoma State's got one of the best running backs on their team, Dominic Richardson, 43 attempts, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. But Oklahoma State's got one of the best defensive ends on their team, Brock Martin. 8 total tackles, 5 solo, 3 assisted, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. Baylor, you better look out for him. But Baylor, they've got some big guys too. Baylor defensive end TJ Franklin, 11 total tackles this season, 4 sacks, 7 assisted, and a half a sack this season. And if you want to look for offense for this game for Baylor, you don't have to look very far. Blake Shapen, 773 yards passing this season, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. Folks, keep in mind, this is a rematch of last year's Big 12 championship game. So what's at stake in this game? Clear control of the Big 12. That's what's at stake in this game. Mike Gundy's already said, I got my guys thinking about the Big 12. We're going into conference play. This is a big game. This is a 3:30 kickoff on Fox. It's big when you got the Fox guys going down to Waco. And nothing good usually happens in Waco, the top 5, the top 10 teams. We'll wait and see what happens in Waco on Saturday when these two teams face off. And what a battle this is going to be. Now, do I have a horse in the fight? No. But this is a Big 12 game. It's the Big 12. Need I say more? We'll see what happens today. Can Baylor make it 3 in a row against Oklahoma State? We'll wait and see. Now, if you think this game's going to be something, we have another 3:30 kickoff. This one's on ABC. Number 22, Wake Forest faces number 23, Florida State. Last Saturday, Wake Forest suffered a heartbreaking loss against Clemson. Florida State, they got themselves back into the top 25 after a 3-0 start on the season. But what a matchup this is going to be. For Wake Forest, it's Sam Hartman versus Florida State's Jordan Travis. Sam Hartman, 962 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Florida State, Jordan Travis, 945 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception this season. The quarterback matchup, I love it. But the wide receiver matchup, because you know each team has their favorite target. Sam Hartman's favorite target, A.T. Perry. 16 catches, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns. Florida State's Jordan Travis, his favorite target, Johnny Wilson. 13 catches, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. The offensive matchups look really great. But the defensive matchups is going to be something to write down. Baylor's defense, defensive back Malik Mustafa, 27 total tackles, 16 solo, 11 assisted, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Look out for him. Florida State, you better look out for him on Saturday. But he's also got some support. Defensive back Rondell Bothyard, 13 total tackles, 6 solo, 7 assisted, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. 2 dangerous dudes on the Wake Forest defense. Florida State, you better be paying attention. But on the Florida State side of the ball, linebacker Tatum Bethune, 25 total tackles, 16 solo, 9 assisted, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery. He's a very dangerous dude. But defensive back Jared Verse, 9 total tackles this season. That may be it. 4 solo, 5 assisted. But he's got 3 sacks on the season. He leads Florida State in the sack department on this young season. Now keep in mind, Wake Forest is coming off of a loss last Saturday against Clemson. Is the game going to be in Tallahassee? We'll have to wait and see on an update with Hurricane Ian. But I promise This is going to be fun. This is going to be a game well worth the admission. And it's going to be well worth watching on Saturday. 3:30 kickoff on ABC. This is going to be a battle all the way to the end. And that's all there is to it. Now, let's move on. The Saturday night's main event. Nothing personal against War Wrestling Entertainment, but Saturday night's main event is the best way I can put it. Number 10 NC State versus number 5 Clemson. What's at stake? It's very simple. Clear control of the ACC Atlantic and possibly the ACC crown. The way it looks right now. Now, what is the key matchup for this game? Clemson quarterback DJ Uiagalelei versus NC State's defense. DJ Uiagalelei, he has 1,033 yards passing already this season. 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. NC State's defense, Clemson, you better listen to this. They are number 1 in fewest points allowed this season. They're number 2 against the rush. And number 3 against the pass. That's how good NC State's defense is. This could be an old school Michigan-Ohio State kind of gut check game. That's what we could be looking at. Uiagalelei has really improved. Yes. I'm not going to deny it. DJ Uiagalelei has really improved since last year and a couple years ago. However, NC State's defense is the toughest in the country. But I'll tell you what. This sounds like a mismatch. This sounds like this game has ACC heavyweight championship fight written all over. This is gonna be like a championship bout. Everything on the line. So basically, as far as the ACC Atlantic goes, this could be a case of one game, winner take all. It's that simple. But if you want players to watch, NC State quarterback Devin Leary. He has 890 yards passing this season, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. For Clemson, the player on my watch list is defensive tackle Tyler Davis. He may only have 7 total tackles, 3 solo, 4 assisted. And he had 1.5 sacks. He was the guy responsible for beating Wake Forest last Saturday. He had a big return against the Demon Deacons. So the question is, who steps up? Is it DJ Uiagalelei and Clemson's Tyler Davis or NC State's defense? That's what it's going to come down to. And I'll say it again. What's at stake? Control of the ACC Atlantic. That's all there is to it. This is literally a deal of, I'm going to put it like this one more time. This is a deal of one game, winner take all. It's that simple. That's what's at stake on Saturday night. A 7:30 game on ESPN. Will the field be ready after Hurricane Ian comes through? I thought about this week. A top 10 matchup with everything on the line. Number 5 Clemson, number 10 NC State. A top 10 matchup with division and ramifications on the line. One game. I know we're only going to be going into October. However, at the end of the day, if you stop and think about this, it's one game, winner take all, everybody, and it's that simple. Everything is on the line. And that's the truth. Saturday night, 7:30 on ABC. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. It's that simple. All right. Now let's talk some NASCAR for a second. The NASCAR Cup Series is going to be at Talladega this weekend. Last Sunday, Tyler Reddick, who was eliminated from the chase for the Cup the previous week, won the race at Texas. No chase driver has won a race yet so far. And I can tell you right now, Alex Bowman is probably going to be eliminated because he's going to miss the race at Talladega due to a concussion that he suffered at Texas last week. Noah Gragson, a regular Xfinity driver, is going to be sitting in the number 48 car on Sunday afternoon. So Alex Bowman, we can cross him off. So right now, Austin Cindric, William Byron, Christopher Bell are the other three chase drivers that are going to be on the outside looking in. This is Talladega, baby. A lot can happen between now and the checkered flag. 200 miles an hour, 2.66 miles round. It's literally going to be a 188-lap drag race. And hopefully we won't have any utter stupidity on Sunday afternoon. Because the battle for the Cup is going to come down to who wants it the most. Alex Bowman is going to be eliminated, no matter what happens. He has a concussion. He's not going to be able to race at Talladega, so he's out. Austin Cindric, he almost has to win. William Byron, Christopher Bell, the same thing. But you got Chase Elliott, the two chases, Elliott and Briscoe, that are right close to that cut line. Those two, because both Chase Elliott and Chase Briscoe literally have to do well on Sunday. Ryan Blaney, fourth in points, despite not winning a race this year. Unbelievable. Now, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, and Kyle Larson are the top three. Then you got Ryan Blaney. Then Denny Hamlin fifth. Suarez sixth in the points. Then you got Chase Elliott and Chase Briscoe. Those are your top 8. 9 through 12, I've already talked about that. 2 o'clock on NBC. 2 o'clock, it's either NBC or USA. We're going to have a great race on Sunday afternoon. And that's the truth of the matter. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts on this day. As all of you know by now, and all my Ohio State fans know, the old Ohio Stadium, better known as the Horseshoe, turns 100 this week. All the great memories of that stadium. And I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of them. I'm just going to name a few. Remember back in 1984 when Ohio State faced Illinois and we had to come back and beat the Fighting Illini when Keith Byers lost his shoe in the Horseshoe? What about Maurice Clarett and the memories he gave us against the team up north against Michigan in their 14-9 victory, which eventually took us to a national championship? Think about back in 2017 when Saquon Barkley of Penn State ran all over us. But Ohio State found a way to come back and win. 1 year later in 2018, Ohio State was kind of in a downturn because we lost our shot at the national title. But we spoiled the party for the team up north. At that time in 2018, Michigan's defense was one of the best. Ohio State put 62 on the board against the Maize and Blue. Well, let's go way back. 1974. Mike Calantry of Michigan missed a 33-yard field goal, which sent the Horseshoe into a frenzy. Those are some of the memories that I have of old Ohio Stadium. Those are some of the memories that I have of the Horseshoe. There's a whole lot more. You can go to their website. As a matter of fact, I started a hashtag the other day on Facebook. Happy 100 Horseshoe. I was the one that actually started it to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Ohio Stadium here in Columbus, the home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I'm glad I did. I've already gotten some hits off of it. And I'll tell you what. Ohio State's having homecoming against Rutgers on Saturday. But when I was thinking about this, what a birthday present, what a present it would be if Ohio State wins the national championship in the 100th anniversary of the Horseshoe. And what a super present the Buckeyes could give all their fans by going in against Michigan and giving them the beatdown of a lifetime after what Harbaugh and his Looney Tune goons did last year after we went to the Big House. Ohio State is getting their revenge against the team up north. Mark my words. But anyway, happy 100th anniversary, happy 100 to the Horseshoe. And to close the show, it's only fitting that we close the show with a Buckeye battle cry. All right, everybody. I want to thank you guys for having a thing. I want to thank you guys for joining me on here on this Friday. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you guys so much for being with me here on this Friday. I will be back here Sunday night for the Scott Manning YouTube Sunday Sports Machine to wrap up the weekend. And I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this Friday. You guys have a fantastic Friday. Thank you so much for being with me, and God bless. Goodbye, everybody, and I thank you.